Contrary to the clocks on the wall at 6 o'clock. Well, the one on the computer says 6.
Sorry about that, I don't have my gavel up here. This meeting is called to order. It's the regular meeting, January 7th, 2020. Commissioner Welker, would you lead us in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Can we have a roll call, please?
You sure may. Also, I'd like to introduce Erin Deskins, who is going to be doing this for my department starting next month. But she's
Welcome.
also doing it today, too. All right, we'll start with Commissioner Welker.
Here.
And Commissioner McCafferty is absent. Commissioner Pasiak.
Here.
Commissioner Switzer.
Here.
Commissioner Metters. Here. Vice Chair Armstrong.
Here.
And Chair Merritt.
Here, thank you.
We have a quorum.
Okay, so we'll move to item 4A, consideration of possible action to approve the November 5th, 2019 regular meeting minutes. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to take a look at them. Does anybody have any questions, issues, corrections? All right, so if we don't, I'd like to have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes as printed.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried unanimously. Item 5 is staff reports. Alex, do we have any of that stuff?
We have no staff reports right now.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, so we're gonna move forward to item 6A, the consideration of possible action to adopt ordinance 2020-878 to amend the Town of Chino Valley Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 154, by amending Section 4.21 sign regulations, by amending temporary commercial signs text. Alex.
Thanks. Chair Commission, good evening. Before you have an item prepared by staff. Stated it's a sign regulation text amendment. I just want to go over a brief history about how what we've done and how we got to this point right now. So hopefully the commission was able to read over the memo. I'll be briefly just summarizing the memo and then the progress of this text amendment. But in March 14th, 2017, Town Council adopted this section 4.21, through Ordinance 17-819, which, as we know now, as the sign regulations. So what happened at that time was that this section was adopted completely. It was a complete rewrite of this section that was originally adopted in 2006. Since then, this section has been a challenge for both staff and property owners equally. There's a lot of language within these regulations that are not clear in nature, and a lot of other sections that are open to interpretation. On May 21st, 2019, staff presented a study session item to council, and basically what staff did was it presented a lot of the sign regulations of other municipalities that are similar in size to Chino Valley, and we showed them these regulations, and basically the conclusion was that a lot of these municipalities, the regulations to the sign ordinance are really strict and other ones are really lenient, and we fall right in the middle. And the conclusion was that we don't want to do a complete rewrite of the code as was done in 2017. We just want to tweak some of the language and make it a little bit more clear to both staff and to the residents of the town. So at that point, council directed staff to go ahead and start drafting out language for the what would be the text amendment. On June 26, 2019, staff presented the UDO subcommittee the first draft version of what staff had prepared. At that time, again, the UDO subcommittee is comprised of council members and P&Z commissioners. So after staff presented this draft version, subcommittee members asked for some revisions to be made and some additional language to be added. On July 10th, 2019, again, the staff met with the UDO subcommittee. At that point, they presented a second draft version with some of the language they were suggested during the first meeting. Staff looked at it together with the subcommittee members, and subcommittee members requested additional language to be added to the draft. On August 14th, 2019, again, the staff met with the UDO subcommittee and presented a third version of the text amendment or the draft text. Again, subcommittee members requested that additional language and wanted some additional revisions to be made. On August 15, 2019, staff presented town council the first and the third draft version that had previously been presented to the subcommittee members. During this meeting, there was a study session, and it was more of an open discussion between the mayor and the other council members about these two versions that staff had presented to them. During the discussion, the council also opened it up to the public that was present at that time, and other and business owners alike that were there present at that study session. So the conclusion of this discussion was, and I'm going to go off of the memo that was provided to the commission, was one, that all businesses are required to install a permanent sign before any special event or promotional signage be displayed. And as I read through this, I'll show a visual that will more clearly explain the route that staff and business owners alike wanted to go. Number two, a temporary sign. A temporary sign is the sign installed while a business awaits for the permanent sign to be installed. This requires a permit, may be displayed to up to 6 months, and shall not be renewed. Number three, all businesses, institutions that have installed permanent signage are entitled to an amount of square footage based on the zoning of the property. Commercial, light commercial, heavy, and industrial will be allotted 48 square feet, and all other zonings will be allotted 24 square feet. This signage is called auxiliary signage. Special event and promotional signage may be displayed as long as the total square footage does not exceed the allotted amount listed above. Number four, special event, promotional, and auxiliary signage shall not require a permit, but it is allowed by right as long as the signage remain in good condition. Number five, the provisions allowing the signage by right shall sunset in 2 years. And number six, provide definitions for all types of new signage. So that's the direction that council wanted us to draft the version or the text amendment. On December 10th, 2019, staff, for the last time through a study session, presented the last version of the text amendment. The council was satisfied with the text, draft text, and they directed staff to bring it forward to planning and zoning, which is where we are today. So basically what I wanted to do with this visual was explain exactly how it's going to start working now with the commercial signage. So here we see, if let's say that I'm a business owner, I'm a new business owner within the town limits, and I've applied for my business license and it's been issued, so I'm already ready to open up shop on my business. But I don't have the money right now to install a permanent sign, so I'm allowed to put a temporary sign on my business in lieu of a permanent sign. So this temporary sign that I locate on my business, I'm only allowed to have it for up to 6 months. So let's say that within 3 months I have enough money and I apply for a permanent sign, and that permit is issued. So now that I have installed my permanent sign, I'm allotted what we call, again, auxiliary signage, which could be a banner, of feathered flags, and pennants, and A-frames as well, which in the past we've considered temporary signs, are now going to be transferred over, or the terminology is going to be auxiliary signage. So now, because I'm in a commercial zone property, I'm going to be allowed 48 square feet. Not only that, but we have other ways to use this auxiliary signage or this temporary signage. 2 ways to go about it is special event or promotional events. A promotional event would be if I have a sale in my business, or if I have a grand opening or something of that nature. Or if a special event would be anything from a rodeo to a fair, or anything of that kind. Something that's going to be there temporarily, that's going to leave within 15 days. And if we look at the code, commercial light zoning district, at the end of it, there's a section of it that's called a temporary use, which reflects the special event type of events that would allow for the special event signage. So again, there's a provision there's a sunset provision for this text amendment. It's gonna be basically a trial version of it, and we're gonna allow 2 years, and then with the 2 years, staff is gonna look at if it worked or if it didn't work. As of right now, if this gets adopted, the auxiliary signage will be considered by right. There's not gonna be a limit on how long they can have the temporary signage or the auxiliary signage. Once that sunset the date comes, that provision about auxiliary signage being allowed by right is gonna go away. So I know that the commission has looked at the draft version, but before I get into that, just a little bit about the citizens outreach. Staff uploaded the draft text to the town website. We did a town-wide notification and let the residents know that the draft version was in the town website and the news flash. Staff uploaded it in early December, and it's still there. It's not gonna be. It'll be there till it gets to council. If council adopts it, then we'll remove it. Since it's been uploaded to the town website, staff hasn't received any comments, any questions, anything of that type from citizens. Again, if we go through the draft text, on the first page, you'll see that we have the definitions. Again, council requested that staff actually provide definitions for some of the signage, which was something that was missing in the past or had been removed with the 2017 adoption of the sign code. A lot of the terminology that had to do with signage was removed, and it really did hurt the code. So again, we're adding those definitions and additional definitions. So if you see definition number 2, which is sign auxiliary, staff will be adding additional language to that. It says an A-frame sign or a feathered sign used to supplement a used permanent signage. So staff will be adding also not only A-frame signage, feathered signage, but also banners and pennants. So that's what's gonna be considered the auxiliary signage. Also, auxiliary will be added to sign special event promotional. So we'll be adding that term as well. On section 4.21.3 H2, it says an aggregate up to 2 special event promotional signs or auxiliary signs are permitted in addition to the permanent sign allowed for a property. So that language is going to be changed. A property is going to be removed, and it's going to say per business. Other than that, I believe that's the only typos that we had, or additional language that we're going to be adding before this goes before council. So with that being said, staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission forward a recommendation of approval to Town Council to adopt ordinance 2020-878 to amend the Town of Chino Valley's Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 154, by amending Section 4.21, sign regulations, by amending temporary commercial sign text. The chair or commission have any questions for staff?
Does any of the commissioners have questions or concerns?
Alex, coming into an election year, where are election signs, what do they come in as?
You're talking about,
Yeah, vote for Pete or whatever.
okay, so those are regulated by state statutes.
Okay.
So all political signage falls under state law jurisdiction.
Right.
We don't regulate political signage at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Alex. Just as a side note, this is Alex's last meeting with us. We're very sorry to see him move on. He's going to warmer climates, darn it. So thank you for your service here, Alex.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Go down the valley.
Okay, so I'd like to open up this portion of the meeting to the public for any comments on this item. If anybody has any questions or comments, please step up to the podium and state your name. Be concise, try not to be repetitive, and be polite. Does anybody want to take advantage of that offer? Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Tom Payne from Tom's Print and Sign here in Chino Valley, and I just want to thank Mr. Cook for his responsiveness for working with me today. I waited kind of till the last minute, and I shot him over an email with some of the things that I had some questions on and whatnot, and he spent ample time and was very responsive back and forth with me today. Spent plenty of time and really cleared things up and took care of things, and I just wanted to personally thank him for that, here today. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else like to step up and speak about this item? Seeing no other volunteers, I'm going to close that portion of the meeting. Now that we've heard the staff and the public, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend Planning and Zoning Commission forward a recommendation of approval to Town Council to adopt ordinance 2020-878 to amend the Town of Chino Valley Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 154, by amending Section 4.21, sign regulations, by amending temporary commercial sign text.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have 2 seconds. We have a motion and a second. In that motion, are we covering whatever the corrections that Alex had spoke about here at the meeting tonight?
Yes, sir, because they're contained in the minute, or in the plan itself, it is covered by that motion.
Okay, wanted to make that clear. All right, so is there any other discussion, any questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? There's no opposed, motion is carried unanimously. Thank you all for your hard work. I know the sign business here's been trudging through the mud for a while. Appreciate everybody's effort. We're moving on to item 7, non-public hearing action items. I don't believe we have any of those. We do have something for item 8 as a discussion item. Mr. Cook?
The UDO subcommittee is currently meeting to go through and update and amend the UDO's zoning ordinance portion of it, chapters 1 through 5 now, since we removed 6. Currently, there's 3 town council members that sit on that. There's no planning commission member. My recommendation would be that a planning commission member also attend and go through those changes as well. So if one of you wants to volunteer, or if you want me to put this on as an action item at the next meeting where you can vote on who is the person to attend, I leave that to you to discuss.
Okay, so he is calling for somebody to serve on that committee.
Mr. Cook, I'll be happy to attend.
Perfect.
Vice Chair Armstrong has volunteered. Thank you, because I sat in on the last deal and it was
Take a leave of my senses to do so.
yeah, it was good, but it does take a lot of work. So, does that cover that for you?
Yeah, that'll work. The next meeting is this Wednesday.
Okay, that's tomorrow?
No, I'm sorry.
I mean,
not tomorrow, 1 week from tomorrow,
Okay,
the 15th, and we're going through the subdivision regulations.
okay, thank you.
Is that here, Josh?
Yeah,
And what time?
3:30.
Chair,
Thank
Mayor, just to clarify with you, we have that on our calendar for the 22nd. Wasn't it the 22nd? That was the following Wednesday, the 4th Wednesday
No,
of
the
the
2
month.
dates that I gave the council members were the 15th or the 29th. The 22nd wasn't one of those.
Oh, okay. So we need to change
So
that.
I can double check with Corey and, Mr. Mendoza and Mr. Turner.
Okay, yeah, just let us know, because our calendar shows it as being on the 22nd.
Okay,
'Cause
yeah,
we were-
that wasn't one of the dates that we put forward.
Okay.
So
And also to clarify that anybody who attends that UDO subcommittee is not actually going to be a member of the committee. They're being invited to help review, but if we actually add a public member to that committee, it changes its entire makeup, and we have to create all kinds of new paperwork and stuff, so.
understandable.
Okay, just wanted everyone to be clear on that.
As long as he gets to talk and speak his mind, I guess that's
Yes.
good.
He just can't vote.
It is open, yeah.
I shall not vote.
Okay, so, item 8, discussion items, I believe we've got that handled, so we'll move forward to item 9, the call to the public comments. Call to the public is an opportunity for the public to address the commission on any issue within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda. Public comment is encouraged. Would anybody like to take an opportunity to talk about other things besides the sign ordinance? Seeing no volunteers, we will move past that portion and move on to our most popular motion, item 10, motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, commission. Thank you, staff, and thank you, Tom, for all your hard work.
Pretty close.